All right. And we're live. And I'm going to charge my watch. And a bunch of other things. Okay. Some of this stuff out of my way. Some people need a clear, a nice, clean, clear writing surface, blah, blah, blah. This is like unorganized chaos. A lot of people say organized chaos. That's dumb. That makes no sense. It's like saying military intelligence. Two words combined that can't make sense. A little Megadeth for you there. In case you're watching this after the fact, or you just jumped in. But we're going to get some, I got to get this story done. I probably got about 500 words left on it. If that. Pow. Haas just jumped in. What about military intelligence? I said organized. I said my desk is unorganized chaos. And I said, some people will say organized chaos, which doesn't make any sense. I said, like saying military intelligence. And then I said two words combined that don't make sense, which is a Megadeth lyric. There's Keith. Good morning. I started out and finished short story today, 17 words. Nice. Congratulations. I have about 500 words left on this short story that I should have worked on yesterday, but I was like, you know what? Yesterday, I'm not working on anything but myself. I took the day for myself yesterday. Yep, I'm going to finish this story. I'm going to send it out, clean it up a little bit. You know, you got to do a couple passes through it. It's literally the last day to have this done. So I was going to write this morning as well, but then because I really wasn't on at all yesterday, then I had to catch up on emails and different things. Then I had to record a video which dropped about 10 minutes ago or so. Watch that later on. This afternoon I will likely record another video or two. Maybe 7, maybe 30 videos today. I'll just keep recording videos. Fill up for the next year. Or not. Who can say? Yeah. All right. Check on some things here. I still have a ton of emails and different things to get to. So I don't want to get behind again, but I do have to. Okay. What's everybody working on? Ooh. As long as I get this short done today, I'll be happy. I do want to write a little bit more on the book as well. There's Charlie. Hey, everyone. What story are you working on? Short story for an anthology that is due today. Haas says I'm doing an editing pass on my last story. Nice. Keith says I wrote another cryptid short story. I'm going to put out a short story collection. Nice. So you are leaning heavily on the cryptid stuff. I like that. Troy says, hey, Keith, when you sub to Calendar Fools Misfits, did you get a confirmation? Oh, yeah, he was trying to ask you this on Monday, but you played hooky. Charlie, I did not receive a receipt for my sub, so that's good news. There's Tom. Charlie's been waiting since Friday to ask that. I know. Keith says, because I watched that video. See, Keith watched it, so he knew there was a question coming. Charlie says, I had a sword and sorcery story accepted yesterday, but halfway through writing a new sword and sorcery story. Congratulations. Nice. It does sound like a good day, Keith. Yeah, I think that's a newer publisher. All right, so it looks like you guys are really rocking today with your writing. Congrats. Fingers crossed. Yeah. Hopefully that will all work out. Lorraine, watching your video with your son sitting in the back seat, he reminds me of somebody, and it's been driving me nuts ever since I saw the video. I don't know if it's like somebody that I know in my personal life or knew, or like an actor or a comedian or somebody, but it's bothering me now. I cannot figure out. I know I probably don't know your son in real life, so it's got to be somebody I've seen in my life or on the television or a movie or something. But it's bugging me. There's Frank. Speaking of woo, doggy. Come on with the spam today. Crazy amount of spam today. Soggies. Hope to never have a soggy again in my life. What's that, everybody? I was going to list you all, but my fingers wouldn't be able to handle it. You just go, hey, everybody. Here's the mailman. Give me, you son of a. I didn't got in the mail in like 2 days ago. There's a giant stack of mail. It's all garbage. I had, like, say there's like literally like 30 pieces of mail. One thing for me, it was like some credit card, get a credit card. There was nothing important in it. But out of all of those, I think my wife got like 14 credit card things or loan things. And then my sister-in-law, who doesn't even live here, but she lists this as her address is on a couple things. She got like more, she gets more mail than we do here. Enough. I decided to let him be part of the videos. Well, he was part of that video. He let you know he was part of that video. I thought it was funny that he just, the insistence. I mean, I'm sure that drives you insane sometimes, but I get it. Tom says, after all the spam talk the other day, I'm now getting Facebook ads for spam hot dogs. That can't be a real thing. That's gross. Hope you remember who he reminds you of. Super good. I'll remember after, like when I'm doing something, and then I won't write it down. And then on Friday, you'll go, do you remember it? I'll say no. It was good to finally have a face to go with the persona, Lorraine. Yeah, I agree. Frank says, pretend I'm Miss Molly. I see Keith, and I see Lorraine, and I see Charlie Walls, the writer. Yeah, Romper Room. They never said my name. They never ever saw me. Romper Room, I was invisible to them. Your son is quite the character. Yes. There's Chet. Chet says, that owl goal I set for Wednesday looks like I'll make it. 9 pages left in the second draft. Nice. Very nice. Many thanks for all the encouragement. You guys are great. Those guys really are great. I started that, what is it, God in the Woods? Whatever it is, Chad. I read like 2 chapters at like 3 o'clock in the morning because the cats decided they were going to see who could break the other lamp in the living room because they already broke the one the night before chasing each other. So Trish says, I agree, Lorraine. It was nice to see your son in the video. Don't be spreading that around, Lorraine. Some of us have reputations to uphold. Well, I think it's so. I liked it. I mean, again, I've only gotten into the opening part of it, but it's actually it's well written and it's engaging. For 3 o'clock in the morning, barely awake, and I'm like, all right, I could read more of this, but I probably need to get to sleep. I'm not bad. I will read more of it. I'll read more of it this afternoon. After I'm done here, though, I have to take a ride up to the library because my coffee mug is in for doing that interview with that author a couple weeks ago. They sent me over they paid me, which was nice. And then they sent me a coffee mug that I just got to pick up at my library. So, and I got a couple of things to drop off. So I'm like, you know what? This will be good. Getting out of the house. Kesa, Chad, not to be a nag, but did you get my email? Frank says, I see Chad. We're kind of going to be buddy reading it then because I'm still only 100 pages in. I took a break to stay focused on Owl. Well, let's buddy the crap out of this thing. Yeah, I'll read more today. Probably tonight when I go to bed. I still got a couple other books from the library, but I might have to bring them back because they're only allowing you to renew twice now. Chad says, "You are being a big nag, Keith." All right, he says, "You're not being a big nag, Keith." My apologies. I totally got it. Been busy and failed to reply. The cover is yours. I'll get the title slapped on today and send it. There you go. Slap it and go. Tries to think I'm about 40% in and I'm liking it so far. Which book are you referring to, Charlie? Frank, I got a question for you. Frank, you still there? Keith says, "Edit today. I don't need it today, but I want that cover." You know what? I'll give you double whatever Keith was paying for that cover. I was talking about the Reigns book. Oh, okay. Yeah, I am. I read another couple chapters of that, I think yesterday or Wednesday. I don't remember. Try says he'll pay triple. Nice. No, I gotta write a story. You can't be climbing all over me. I'm bleeding all over my body because of your claws. She chews on her claw. I've never seen a cat chews on her own claws. But then it's like she leaves it's like she's sharpening them. Hey, you son of a bitch. Ow, you just stabbed me in the leg again. God. You are killing me. I'm bleeding again. Sit down. I said good day, sir. Sit down. Get your tail out of my face. Chances I'll mail you a baby goat. Did you really just fucking dive into my coffee? She literally just jumped into. I have a giant box of coffee behind me, the K cups. She literally just jumped off my shoulders into it, and now there's K cups on all over the floor. So if I roll my chair back, I'm going to run over. Man, I am 2 lines. How many lines? 2 lines. I am bleeding. Son of a bitch. And now if I look at it, I'll pass out. My reading has been suffering lately. Lots of things, too many problems lately. She's trying to trigger an evolution. Yeah. It was actually kind of painful. I have a low threshold for pain. Frank, have you heard of a documentary called Shut Up, Little Man? Says I'm too old and ornery for a baby goat anymore. A goat would be cheaper than what we're paying the guys to cut the lawn. If it makes you feel better, I was ankle bitten by an otter this morning. I'll use euphemism for you and your wife got it on. Nice. I'm going to use that one. Keith is pleased by that, Charlie. With an otter, you got to worry about if he bites you in the face. Then you're getting a little too comfortable. And sometimes you can find a guy to bring goats by to eat your grass. I remember a guy, John Regan, had a goat in his yard growing up, and then but eventually, I don't think there was any grass in his yard. I guess unless you train them to only eat so much grass. Like, hey, when it gets down to 3 inches, don't eat anymore. Lorraine says, "Dear Mercy, an otter. Guess they aren't as sweet as they." No, they're probably not. Say it's my 31st wedding anniversary. Who's sending gifts? You know what? Your gift is that woman hasn't killed you yet, Chad. Congratulations. On Friday's live stream, Rabbit Charlie. Yeah. Frank, missed the question because of ads. Have you ever seen the documentary Shut Up, Little Man? I just found out about it today, and it's an older one. and I haven't looked up to see. I looked on Netflix, but it's not. It's listed as Netflix, but of course not in my country. Maybe not even in your country. The premise is two punk rockers are in this apartment building somewhere in like LA or something. And their neighbors next door scream and yell and fight all the time. So they have a microphone and they put the microphone to the window and they record like 14 hours worth of arguments onto cassette. And then they start passing them around to their friends as fun. And the two guys are arguing. One of them is gay and the roommate is homophobic. And they are just screaming at each other, all kinds of crazy shit all the time, getting into fist fights and getting drunk. And then I guess these tapes became legendary, passed along, and then somebody made a documentary about it. It's even in like, I forget what, like somebody sampled a couple parts of it for songs at one point. I guess it became a festival film at some point, but I've never seen it. But it seems interesting, and I figured if anybody would have seen it, it might have been you. Not ringing a bell. Tom saw it. Tom's read and seen everything. That was a great documentary. I never saw it. I don't even know what it would be on, but I'm going to find out and probably watch it when my leg stops bleeding. Great chapter title, Filthy Spine Breaker. Don't know how I'd use it, but I want to. Oh yeah, gotta. Nope, cigarette does not start with a V. Mm. Chad says, "Shut up, little man," not to be confused with Richard Chismar telling Todd Kiesling on Facebook that he's a funny little man after being confronted for non-payment. Yeah, Funny Little Man is a totally different documentary about Chismar and Kiesling. That I also have not seen. What's it called? Hi, I'm Little Man. Yes. It's called Shut Up, Little Man. I guess that's one of the things that one of the guys yells at the other guy. I don't know. I'm always trying to find something to watch. I watched The Night Manager because my wife's been gone since Monday morning. She won't come back till late tonight. So I watched both seasons of Night Manager. The first season from 2016, the second season from 2026, 10 years later. They recorded a second season, and I guess they're going to have one more season. So it's that was very good. I'll probably do a video on that. And then I watched Undercover. I started watching the first season of that on Netflix. It's like from Finland. So it's like overdubbed. It's a crime boss thing. I guess it's 3 seasons, and then they did 2 prequel movies for it, from what I understand. So I've been watching that. Basically, I just watched stuff. And I also watched the roast of Kevin Hart yesterday. Not live on Mother's Day. But I watched it yesterday, and that was awful. And I'm like, man, I just wasted 3 hours lying on the couch watching this. Funny Little Man is scheduled for release October 2026, but will actually be released October 2034. Yeah, the Mark Kiesling tapes. Try says Cemetery Dance used to be one of my dream plays to publish, but I've heard so many bad stories from the past few years. Yeah, stay away. You should watch Winnebago Man. I think I've seen that. Is it MA or a mature adult or approved for general audiences, Tom? I've only watched clips of the roast, and some of what I've seen has been pretty funny. Yeah, there's like 10 funny lines. I wasn't either. I was like, let me watch something that my wife would not watch. And then I put it on, and that was the first thing that popped up. I'm like, screw it. Let's watch this. It was really just a ton of racist jokes. And Kevin Hart, spoiler alert, Kevin Hart is short. Kevin Hart roast sounds like just 3 hours of saying you're short. Pretty much, yeah. I watched the Untold doc about chess. Pretty good. Yeah, that was a good one. The second Tom Brady showed up, I turned it off, which was in the first 5 minutes. Yeah, he was awful. He just basically used a lot of profanity. He thought that was funny. The Rock at the end, man, he was so drunk, and he kept going on and on about having sex with Kevin Hart's wife, that it was like it got uncomfortable. My husband and I are watching the series True Detective. Which season are you watching? The first one, phenomenal. I don't remember the second one. I think the second one was really good. The third season, I think whatever the Vince Vaughn was, that's when I was not interested anymore. A lot of Lovecrafty and cosmic horror stuff in that. Yeah, the roast was not funny. I mean, they're never hysterical, like you laugh through the whole thing. But I'm like, so we have Chelsea Handler with her boobs sticking out. Oh, she's a whore, because everybody said for 3 hours that she was a whore, and she just sat there and smiled and took it. It was like the same jokes over and over and over. Very not any of them funny. Just really mean stuff. And I'm like, not interested. So, yes, I watched that garbage yesterday. Yesterday, I did leave. Left the house. So, in Sisters in Crime, I'm part of that organization, and I'm a mentor. So, I met my brand new mentee yesterday over the phone for an hour. And then after that, I went to the pizza place, and I ordered me a large Sicilian veggie instead of a meat lovers. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get a veggie one. So I got a veggie, 16 giant slices, square, Sicilian. And while I was waiting, I was like, you know what? Let me get, because I know it's going to take a while, let me get 2 plain slices for here to eat now. And then by then the pizza will be done. She's like, okay. So she puts in my order. What do we want? Chest cake. So she puts in my order. No big deal. I'm just sitting there at the bar area. Place is busy, but not crazy busy. Some other guy comes in, sits down a couple seats away from me. He's like, I just need 2 pepperoni slices. Because I was like, you know what? A couple of slices of plain pizza is fine. Suck them down real quick. We're all good. And then this guy ordered 2 slices of pepperoni pizza. And now, almost 10 minutes goes by. I'm just sitting there, and I'm watching some basketball thing, which I don't like basketball. And then she comes out with 2 slices of pepperoni pizza for him. So she looks over and I went, And I said, 2 plain slices for here, my Sicilian to go. She's like, yeah. I said, and I pointed at him. I said, oh, okay. So she goes back there, and it's just a wall. And she's like, where's the 2 plain slices? And he's like, oh yeah, they're going to be done. And she's like, that's for here. He's like, oh, I thought that was with. I waited. I thought that was. She's like, no. So then somebody else sits down at a table, and they order 2 plain slices. And then a guy comes out from the back and he looks right at me. He don't know. And he goes to the table and he puts down 2 plain slices of pizza in front of the guy. So now she's not looking at me. So I said, excuse me. And she looks over, and I know I'm being an old man, and I don't care. And I'm like, seriously? She's like, I don't know what's going on. Hold on. So she looks pissed. So she goes back. She's like, what are you doing? She's yelling at the guy making pizzas. He's like, the two slices I've been waiting on. He's like, I'm making a pie right now. I'm making a fresh pie for him right now. What's getting all worked up about? So she comes up, and I said, I'm getting all worked up because I've been here for 15 minutes. I just wanted to eat a couple of pieces of pizza. I didn't think it was going to be that hard. I say it loud enough for the guy. So the guy pops out, and I was just like, I give him a look, and then he goes in the back. Like, great, now he's going to spit on my pizza. So I finally get my 2 slices of pizza. She puts the 2 slices of pizza on the counter. I'm like, all right. And I was like, all right, thanks. And then she goes in the back and immediately then goes and gets my Sicilian. I'm like, son of a bitch. I would have just waited for the Sicilian. So she puts that, so I eat my pizzas. But this was the fun part. This is the fun part. A guy walks up to the counter, and the girl working there is probably like, I don't know, 18, 19 years old. Can't be much more than that. And she was skinny little cute girl. And this dude looked like late 20s, and you could tell he was like trying to be all flirty with her and all that. And he pays for the bill. And it's like $50, whatever it was. And he slaps down a $100 bill, all impressed with himself. She rings it up. She's smiling, but it's just, I'm smiling because I don't want you hitting on me. Smile. And this guy ain't going to get that. She counts out his change. She puts it on, and his buddies are waiting at the door, and he makes a big show. He takes a 20 off of the pile, and he puts it in the tip jar. But as he drops it in the tip jar, she turns around and walks to the back. And the look on his face, and I immediately thought of the Seinfeld episode with George Costanza when he put the tip in the jar and the guy didn't see him put the tip in the jar. And I chuckled a little bit. I thought that was funny. And then this guy just kind of stood there, and he kind of looked at the tip jar, and then he kind of looked around, and me and the other guy sitting next to me, we're both watching him. I mean, I think if nobody was watching, he would have reached in, taken his 20 out, and then acted like he had just put it in again. But then he ended up walking out. And then I looked at the other guy, and he looked at me. We both laughed. Although that was funny. No, this is not a retelling. We don't like retellings around here. Only Haas does. Lawrence, it's often difficult to find shows that my husband and I both like. He doesn't generally like creepy, paranormal, psychological horror type stuff, but he's liking True Detective. Well, that's good. It does sound like a retelling, though, Charlie. I agree. He's got the details down. He's told this story before. Funny thing is, Armand's supposed to be writing. Stop pushing me, Keith. I'll get to it. It's part of the process, is right. Keith hasn't been in long enough to understand the process of this. It's called Mondo method of writing for a reason, because it's the way that I write. I can't just sit here and write for an hour straight. How boring would that be? I still get 400, 500,000 words in a year, so it's not like I'm not writing. I thought if they smiled, that meant they want you to hit on them. No, Charlie, no, no. They're just trying to be nice. When they give you that weird, awkward smile, and then their body language says, "Get away from me," then don't keep hitting on them. Writing is a process, not an act. It's all a retelling, Keith. We're living in a retelling. It is a retelling, but any chance of pointing towards an episode of Seinfeld is a good story in my book. So thank you. I almost looking at the other guy. I can guarantee you he was thinking the same thing. I guarantee he was going, "Hey, this is a Seinfeld. This is from a Seinfeld episode." $100 bill hasn't impressed anyone since 1920. Yeah, this guy was like, again, he's probably like 28, 20. He's probably like 10 years older than her, but he was just like pretend this is $100 bill. It's not really $100 bill. And I could write 100 on it, but I won't. And he was just like, and put it on the counter in front of her, like, "That's right." And I'm like, "You probably just got paid, and that's your whole paycheck right there." And then when she put the money, she didn't even hand them the money. She just put the money on the counter and kind of slid it a little bit. And then he scoops it up, and then he's going through and he finds the 20, and then he was like just looking at her, and then she just turned away and went in the back. And then he had dropped it already, and then he was just kind of staring like she didn't see me giving her a $20 tip. Nick says this Mondo method you speak of could be big if you did a podcast around it. No podcasts. No more podcasts. Yeah, I mean, I could have billions of people watching it. Do you really want to go out with someone who agrees only because you tip them $20? I'm going to be honest, Tom. I thought that's how you got Jess. You can get the same smile for $1 at the strip club. Yeah, exactly. You get a better smile. They would at least for $1. They would at least act like they're semi-interested. You pull out a 5 or a 10 at a strip club, though. King. Yeah. So. Oh, there's my Chinese lady walking. She got a giant. I mean, she got a giant hat on, which is. I was going to say something, but it would sound very racist. I won't say what kind of hat she's wearing. I don't like women in hats. Yes, that telltale step backward with plastic smile. Exactly. Do strip clubs still take dollars? Figure the girls danced with a square creator dangling on their neck. Yeah, I haven't been to a strip club in many years. 20 years or more. Hmm. My wife is currently in Atlanta. She flew from Minnesota this morning at like 5 a.m. to Atlanta, and then she's got a convention uh, thing she has to stop at for 2-3 hours, and then she'll be home tonight to go to Tom's and pick up the dogs. And more spam. Not my wife. My wife, that was not spam. Nick says it is a bowler hat and you're prejudiced against turn of the century Irish. Those damn Irish. Yeah, she's walking around. The little Chinese lady with the stretchy pants is walking around with a bowler hat. You know what I'm talking about. Unless it's a baseball hat with giant hoop earrings. Yeah, I do love those giant hoop earrings on women. I think the last time I was in a strip club was like 2008 or 2009. That might have been maybe when I was. Yeah. I think I've told this story. I was never a huge fan of strip clubs anyway. The girls are too skinny. I am not a big fan of plastic boobs and plastic lips. But Wild Wild West strip club in Brooklyn, New York, one day a month on a Tuesday night, they would have big girl night. All the strippers and all the bartenders and all the shot girls would be like 200 pounds or more. And me and my buddy Tom would be up there, not Tom Duffy. Me and my buddy, maybe Tom was there, I don't know. Me and my buddy Tom would be up there having a damn good time. Shelly Con, I mean, it really is Shelly Con. She sells buildings at her table. Yeah. She going up there. She'll grab some swag. She meets with like a couple hundred vendors in Atlanta for various things, but they all give out, a lot of the stuff that's in the swag bags, Frank, every year for MondoCon. She gets a lot of that stuff from there. That's why that's where she got back scratchers and all kinds of different stuff from there a lot of times. So. Troy says maybe it was the same one I was in, Armand. Was it in the middle of nowhere, Mississippi? No, this is Brooklyn, New York, and the girls, they were big girls because they actually set it up as the night. It just wasn't like you go to a bad strip club and they couldn't get any of the skinnier girls to dance. Totally different. Frank says you can always tell who the leader of a pack of women is by looking for the woman wearing the largest hoop earrings. Works every time. Yeah. She used to get more of those panda cookies from last year. Those were good. You're not supposed to be eating those, Nick, are you? Chess says, went to a strip club once. What a frustrating experience. Never tipped a single buck, but they were all over me. What's the point? You walk out hornier than a horned toad blowing a horn on a horn day. Yeah, it's a lot of horns. Yeah, I don't get it. I would hang out with people that just for every Friday, every Saturday night, we're going to the strip club. I'm like, I don't want to go to the strip club. I like my money. I don't want to give all this money away to some girl who's going to make pretend she likes me. That's why I got married and divorced twice. Nick says, I did not eat those pandas, but the imaginary girlfriend loved them. Well, this isn't about her. MondoCon isn't about her, Nick. Maybe she'll get some, I don't know, but I probably will eat them. Well, I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Not to be confused with the horn store called and they're running out of you. Nice. The rain can't deal with back scratcher talk. Yeah, she's like, panda cookies, I'm out. Dumped my first husband due to strippers. Probably a good move on your part, I would imagine. Troy says I went to a pretty good one in my early 20s, especially when I was traveling and teaching classes for the Army. We'd always go to the local ones at least once. And a whole lot of strippers weren't the only problem. Yeah. I've been to a lot of the same strip clubs Frank Edler has been to. I just don't think we probably ever went at the same time. So I've eaten the Sicilian pizza now. I had with veggies. It was like onions, tomatoes, green peppers, red peppers, spinach, broccoli, a couple other things I don't remember. So you know what? Instead of just having all that meat piled up, maybe a veggie Sicilian pizza would be better for me. And not to eat it all 16 slices, not to eat all 16 at once, which I did one time. I literally sat down and ate an entire 16-inch by 16-inch Sicilian pizza on my own. So I had those 2 slices of plain pizza. And then when I got home, I ate 4 slices. I ate a row. And then last night for dinner, I ate another row. And then today for lunch, I ate another row. And then tonight for dinner, I'll eat the last row. So it might have been like $40 for the Sicilian pizza and 2 slices. But it gave me 4. It's like $10 a meal. Yeah, go veggies is right. It was delicious. And that'll probably be my I'm good for pizza now for a few days. Character's name is Jonathan, and I keep starting with Jan. That's not right. It's not Jonathan. It's not a female. There she is again. 86 degrees out right now. She's just walking around like no care in the world with that giant hat on. Sun's not coming anywhere near her body, though. It's probably like 65 degrees under that hat. So I'm going to try to find this Shut Up Little Man documentary this afternoon. Once I get back from the library with my Lit Chat coffee mug, which I'll be using tomorrow probably on my coffee of the day. The sun is dangerous. Apparently so are otters. The sun, number 1. Otters, number 2. Strippers, number 3. Janzik, exactly. I wear a pretty big hat at work during the summer. Do you wear one of those giant, like you're working in the rice paddies in Vietnam hats? Or do you wear the giant straw one that it like kind of hangs down and you got like the thing to hold on to? Nick says, I caught up on Expedition Files and have a few bones to pick. A few? Like what? Last night was Skinwalker Ranch premiered. And I just realized I didn't even watch it because I was watching that other show. I gotta watch that as well. Tom Duffy says, you should get in the shade. I am the shade. Trista, it's not quite that big. I'm too short to pull those off. Because they would drag, probably, because you're short. They would be dragging on the ground. And otters would climb up it and eat through it and then bite you in the head. I've seen it. Nick says, the segment about Jim Morrison was hogwash. Hogwash, I say. Their expert found a rando guy that looks like Jim Morrison, so it must be him. Waste of time. I've seen that. There's a documentary or another show. I've seen that guy. And I think it was just later disproven through DNA that guy was Jim Morrison. He looks like what Jim Morrison would look like if he was still alive. But I'm like, yeah, that's not him. And the guy basically seemed like he did just enough in his life to not say outright, I'm Jim Morrison, but to make you think. Like he's like, oh, he read his favorite author is the same author as Jim Morrison. Like everybody doesn't know that at this point. Tom Duffy says, Nick, that guy Frank is my friend. Yeah, Tom, I was just going to say, and Tom Duffy knows that guy. Tom Duffy knows that guy. That guy is not Jim Morrison. Trey says, yeah, they drag or a big wind might carry me off. Yeah. And then you'd be like, the only way you can save yourself is you put your hands in it, you hook onto giraffe necks. Then you slowly slide down the neck so you don't get killed. Expedition Files with Josh. Lorraine's on a first name basis. That's Mr. Gates to you, ma'am. Mr. Gates. Lorraine says, I don't need a hat since I'm rarely in the sun. If you do, don't make it giant. Nick says, you know Jim, I mean Frank? Troy says, exactly. Yeah, I watched that segment as well, and I'm like, no, this is not real. It's like, can't people just, I don't know, die and then be dead? Does everybody who dies, everybody important who dies, is there's some conspiracy? Because it just seems ridiculous. Anyone else read No One Here Gets Out Alive? Morrison was a weird dude. Yeah, I read it many years ago. In fact, I'm going to tell you a little story about that book. I bought a copy of it, and I got to a certain, like, say, page 100 or something in the book, and then it skipped to page 144. There was a big chunk of the printing missing from the book I purchased, so I had to go back to the store, and they just gave me a new copy, and we made sure that all the pages were in there. Printing error. There's Chad bringing it. At least it's a book that we're talking about something. It's not just some rando book. So I appreciate that, Chad. And yeah, he was a very, very weird dude. I'm not even a Doors fan, but I love reading those types of books. Nick says, in the segment about the abducted airman who had metal in his leg that later disappeared, again, that was the point because Mr. Gates called BS on both. Yeah. Yeah, also another like, oh, yeah, he you can say anything you want, but there's literally no proof of any of that. And then nobody ever heard from the other guy. Oh, yeah, he died. Yeah, that guy, he died. Come on. I had read that, Chad. Also, the John Densmore book about suing his bandmates about using the Doors name for concerts without all three living members. Just Jim Morrison just hanging out with Elvis and Bigfoot's UFO. Like a Josh was like, he looks more like Duck Dynasty than Jim Morrison. Yeah. You know, Josh, I'm sure they said to him, listen, don't completely call BS on this, but you know it's BS, so let's kind of beat around that a little bit to make this an interesting segment. But we all know what's going on. They say, at least with Frog and Skinwalker Ranch, they have tons of proof. Yeah. Blind Frog Ranch, at least their stuff is like really a little wacky too, but at least not all of it is. It's not all aliens and stuff, although they do have dire wolves out there and a giant reptilian creature in the pond. I mean, besides that, it's all good. I'm waiting to see how that plays out now without the Ollingers there. Just with that other guy. I'm waiting to see if they're going to at least find something. Ches says, I figured you'd read it, Armand. Geezer did a good job writing. He did. You know what? He really found Jim Morrison's voice in that when he wrote it. Red says, if that title isn't for his poetry collection, then I haven't read it. Red says, I read his poetry Weird So about 30 years ago. Danny Sugarman, who co-wrote the Morrison book, also wrote an autobiography with Geezer Butler, and that guy was a nutball also. Nick says, maybe if Jim Morrison could be head of security, aka Lizard King Security. You know what? That would be some compelling television. I like doors. I'd hate to have to climb through windows all my life. Yeah, right? You might pull something. Come on. There's a sneeze. Cool. Goodness. Matthew in the house with that weird Blair Witch Project symbol, and it says there. I'm sure none of you can see that. I'm the only one that sees that. Frank says Bigfoot doesn't fly UFOs. He uses portals hidden in the mesa. I forgot what we were talking about. Lorraine says, I mainly liked looking at Jim Morrison rather than appreciating his words, at least until he went all shaggy looking. Stopping in before I get to writing. Been busy. Matthew in the house. Thanks for popping in. No, that's not what they call them, Frank. Come on. There was some other new show coming up that I'm going to be taping. I don't remember. We watched another. I love those shows. You know, all the live PD cop shows, all those, the Southern Law, the Alaska Law, Ozark Law, all those. I love watching all of those. And they have one called Squatters that just started. Which we watched the first episode. My wife's like, I can't watch more than one of these. Because basically people squatting in houses and then acting like the first episode we watched, the girls like, we have no place to go. As if that's the homeowner's problem. Yeah, new show. It's called Squatters. It's like a half an hour. We watched the first one, but I'm like, we got to watch something else now because I don't like these people. Lizard King Security, like Dragon. Maybe Dragon is Jim Morrison. Anybody ever think of that? Huh, Mr. Gates? Well, Morrison was a good-looking dude. I'll bet he stank, never changing out of those leather pants. Oh, he probably stank like those leather pants and weed and patchouli oil. Tom says, don't watch those First Amendment auditor videos because then you'll get 1,000 on your feed and fall down a rabbit hole. Yeah. That's my video today is about rabbit holes. Don't start watching that stuff. I talk about sawmills in that. I'm sure now I'll get it. My Facebook will be filled with sawmill ads. And here's Charlie. He's got to ask the question. Now we're all going to be plagued. Nick says, I almost texted you since I came across a YouTube show with Jim Cornette, Trash Talking Hogan, with reviews of each episode of that Netflix documentary. I was going to see if you've listened to it. I have not, but I know exactly what you're talking about. I love Jim Cornette. I think Jim Cornette is hysterical. Even my wife, when we watch all those shows, any wrestling show, she loves watching Jim Cornette. She's like, that's a guy I could hang out with. Like, that's your crazy uncle that will tell you stories about the family that he's not supposed to be telling anybody. I listened to his podcast years ago, and it was just some great stories. Tom says people who go out in public and just stand there videoing places and people until someone freaks out on them and calls the cops, and then they all yell at each other. A man can't ask a question? I thought this was America. This is not America. This is Armand's opinion channel. You see the difference? There is on the Nextdoor app here, which I absolutely love reading for all my illiterate neighbors. The lady was talking about, she's getting mad. She's like, if this is, she shows a picture of some lady with a dog. This is your dog. You keep bringing the dog around while you're on the phone, and the dog is crapping in the middle of my lawn, and you don't even pick it up. And then somebody else is like, well, the first 25 feet of your lawn is the city's, so you don't have any right to say anything about anything. And everybody's like, no, it's not the first 2 feet. No, it's not the first 5 feet. No, it's not the first 12 inches. And then everybody's just like, literally 120 comments, and everybody is just wrong about how much of the city owns the. And this is nobody can just, I don't know, Google that. Nick says, Tom, what about people who toss dynamite in public parks in search of a treasure? Those videos are funny. I'm like, that kind of looks like Nick, but there's no way that's Nick. That's just an arrestable offense. Yeah, you gotta use keyword arrestable offense, Milwaukee, and then you'll see those videos. Keith left a review for Flies on Goodreads. Nice. Reviews are good. Reviews are good. Sugar, bad. Now, sugar's actually pretty good, too. I like sugar. I'm drinking some more peach sweet tea. Delicious. Matthew says, I'm waiting for the day I have contractual approval to film on location and get some Karen come up and ruin a take because she doesn't like what I'm doing. Oh, yeah. And that's coming. And you better have a second set of camera. You better have a camera on her. Okay. Keith says, I love that book. The ending hit me hard because I understand the way grief can strike us at any moment. Tom says, you can record anything you see if you're standing on public property. Yeah. Post that comment on Nextdoor app and see what happens. Matthew says, speaking on books, I planned out my next book, giving it goals, and it's going to be longer than 123,000 words this time. Whoa. Sounds like 2 books. Yeah, but fantasy, and this is only book 2 of 6 or 7. Did he review socks? Yeah, you just saw. Did you read the thing, The Way Grief Can Strike You at Any Moment? Obviously, he was talking about socks. Nick says, so what you're saying is I could stand on Armand's sidewalk and wait for him to come out and yell at me to keep on moving or complain about my choice of hat and film it all. Yeah. Get off my lawn, you damn kids with that hat on. Yeah, film it. And I'll be like, I own in 7 feet into the pavement on the road. So you can't, you got to be across the street. I own part of his lawn now too, though. There she goes again. She'll be out there walking for hours. I'm going to be honest with you. The amount she walks every day. And she goes to some hot yoga thing because Neil, the mayor, Neil Sinbad, he told me about it. That she invited them to go because she does hot yoga twice a week or something. Like you're doing all that, but I'm gonna be honest with you, you still got a little chunk on you, honey. Did your neighbor ever fix their fence in the backyard? You're so cute, Nick. Of course not. What are you, crazy? We've had our fence for over a year now. The new the fence up. That guy isn't going to do anything. No. Nope, not a damn thing. Which annoys Shelly to no end, because her thing is obviously we would have just went all the way to the end if we had known you were going to do that. So yeah, there's that big gate, and he doesn't ever mow the lawn back there or anything. So there's weeds, and then the weeds are growing into our yard. It's just a nightmare. We need your backyard to be beautiful for when the rain sees it. Yeah, exactly. So when the rain dries down. First, remember when people used to mend and whitewash fences? Those were the day. Good times. Good times. Wrench says, that's right, Nick. I need to see some flowers back there while I'm hiding. Perfect fences, flowers, birds, utopia. We have a lot of those blue crabs running around right now, like hundreds of them. My wife does have flowers planted. Fence needs to be improved. And at some point, her lemon tree will actually be in the ground. I can't drive through Atlanta. Oh, Atlanta is awful. Just awful. Yeah, stay out of Atlanta. If you're when you're coming down here, just go 95. 95 all the way down. Matthew hated driving through Atlanta. Atlanta is awful. The people in Atlanta, oh, it's all just awful. All right, so I'll have to take the long scenic route along the coast. Yeah, exactly. You know what? It's a much nicer ride. My arm is hurting again. It'll take me a couple of old man pills. With some peach sweet tea. Trey says Atlanta sucks. Birmingham, Alabama is terrible too. If you're ever passing that way, we went several years ago. We went to a baseball game in Birmingham. We were in Atlanta. My wife, we worked in Atlanta for 2 days, and then we drove to Birmingham from there. And yeah, that was an awful ride. So they don't give those roads and overpasses cray names for no reason, yeah. But if you go through Hotlanta, then it's an easy drive. I don't like it being called Hotlanta. Shelly, don't ever say that in front of her. She hates that. Frank says, what was Cameron's last name from Ferris Bueller? Diaz. Matthew says, but you think Atlanta is bad. Ever try driving Pittsburgh? Many years ago I was in Pittsburgh, but I don't remember I just remember everyone being there. Tom says Fry. That's right, Cameron Fry. Malfunction Junction, Spaghetti Junction, death is looming everywhere. Styles, my maiden name. He related to Harry Styles. That's maybe what your son reminded me of Harry Styles sitting in the back seat. There we go. I've never been to Pittsburgh. Philadelphia is the closest. Philadelphia is not great drivers either. I mean, name a major city that has good drivers. You can't. All bad drivers go to major cities. Matthew says, here's a word question on the concept of maiden names. If a gay man changes his last name in marriage, is it still considered a maiden name? I don't know. I guess it's up to the couple, right? Don't do that hyphen thing, though. You know what I'm saying? I never liked that hyphen thing. Especially if your maiden name and then your married name is going to be really like two really super long names. Then don't do that. Like if your maiden name is Pole, and then your husband's name you're going to marry, or wife. No, your husband's name. You would be female. Let's say you're female or you're a gay man, whatever. And then his is Pot. Your last name shouldn't be Matthew Pol Pot. You know what I'm saying? You probably shouldn't use that one. A1A. Beachfront Avenue. Green Bay isn't half bad. They drive like it's 1974. I'm going to be honest with you. I've been to Green Bay. It is 1974. We stayed at it. Me and my dad, when we were in Green Bay, we stayed at a hotel not too far from there. And they literally gave you keys on a keychain. We had room 138. I remember taking a picture of it and putting it on Facebook that we're in room 138. Tom says Billy Corgan drives like it's 1979. I've seen him driving. Is there a male equivalent to Maiden? No clue. Yeah, me neither. Milton Hershey's middle name was Snavely. Fry, I thought it was Styles. No, I think it's Fry. So is what I know, but I haven't watched it since high school. So I think the hyphen thing is weird too. Yeah. Hyphens are just an unexpressed argument. You best not have lost those hotels. It was the only one they had. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you make sure you give it back. I see guys now that are straight. Right? It's not like, I'm gay and I married another guy and we're going to combine. Baseball players are several of them do that with the hyphen. And I'm like, why? Keisa Styles is one of the characters in Teen Wolf. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. With names like that, you're most likely a killer anyway. John Wayne Gacy. Yeah, they all say their middle names. If you start walking around with your middle name out, yeah, you're a killer. Oh, wow, what a memory scramble I've got going on. Thanks, Keith. Yeah. Hey, you need useless information. This is the place to find it. Nick Alfonso Zinn. What if Virginia Pole marries Douglas Dancer? Right. What if Ella Fitzgerald marries Darth Vader? Then she'd be Elevator. Haas said, this chat is where I go for all my useless information needs. But it's all of them. You know what I'm saying? It's all of them. Chat, that pattern is scary, but proves itself. You were 138, yes, past tense. Let none of you have three names. I think we all really do. If you ever see, oh my God, this new serial killer, Armando David Rosamilia. That's me. Major from Catch 22. That guy was a madman. Ella Fitzgerald Vader. Yeah, that's probably what they would do. Ella Fitzgerald hyphen Vader. I'm probably going to go about 5 more minutes. I actually probably had about 10 lines of this story left. I figured it out while we were talking about all this information that is needed in our lives to survive. I figured out what the ending is here. Francis, what if a woman named Barbara marries Boba Fett? Lorraine says, I have to second guess all of my movie memories now. How will I ever win at Trivial Pursuit? Word of the day, now. There's a lot of nows in that sentence. What if a guy named Bubba marries Boba Fett? What if that fat chick that Vince Neil knows, her name was Cindy, but she changed it to Sin because that's the name of her game? Anyway, what if she marries Nick Zinn? Yeah, Sin Zinn. Lorraine says, I just got that elevator joke. Wow. Keep up, Lorraine. You're supposed to say, I just got that elevator joke now. I can't remember the last time I played Trivial Pursuit. People still play. Stop. You know what? Oh my God. There's literally, she just touched her whiskers on my leg, and literally there's two, like stripes of blood, and it's dripping almost down to my sock. You son of a, ripping me apart. Look, I look houseless. And done. Short story done. The ending is near. It says, blood down to my socks, the Armand and Tom collaborative book. Was my joke not to understand? No words. Yeah, that was my joke. I call my little sister Cindy. It would have been better if I called my little sister Sin, Marcia. You said it first. I didn't say it. I literally said it out loud. That's what I get for leaving here and there, but life happens. Yep. Huzzah! Keith says. Next page. Next page, Nick's in. It was Armand's joke, but he told it verbally the way our ancestors passed down jokes through the ages from generation to generation. I said the joke like our Neanderthal ancestors used to say it. Frank said it like a Homo superior, like a mutant from the X-Men would say it. Ches, I call my little sister Jan. Janzig. That makes sense. Frank. From what? Yeah, she just touched. She just touched because it's two super open cuts in my leg, and she just like walked right at me and just the whiskers tickling it, and it. I got a pain. I have a low tolerance for pain, very low. Anytime we watch any show where they're going to torture somebody, I'm like, listen, you're going to kill me. Just kill me. Here's all the information you need. You're going to get it out of me. Here you go. And they're like, we don't need all that. No, I'm going to tell you everything. I'm going to tell you everything that's ever happened in my life. That's a scientific statement. Calm down. Not just open, super open. Yeah, super, super open. You can't open it. You can't open any more open. If you open any more, it would be closed. That's how open. Oh my God, the touch too much. It might be my favorite AC/DC song of all time. Haas is like Chunk from the Goonies. I never saw it. Someday I'm going to see it. That's one of my wife's favorite movies. She's like, how have you never watched that? I don't know. Is that the garbage man? Oh. I even took out the garbage last night. I was like, I know I'm going to forget. I did not. What the fuck is this? I love these spam. So this spam message here I just got, okay? I'm just going to read what it says. Entry, homosexuality, grade A. And it's a service plus home warranty thing. Roof coverage, whatever plan. And I'm sure when you click through this thing, it's going to take you to some crazy stuff. Yeah, they have just a bunch of random, you can see they're random ads that are what are we doing here? Why are we just sending me random stuff here? I want to go away. Rain says Botox commercial. You and me both, Armin, in my top 3 at least. Lawrence is glad you weren't talking to them. I was just waiting for you. Come on, get rid of this. Now it's just going to hang up. Now it's just going to hang up here. Stupid ad just going to hang here. Borat commercial, yeah. Botox commercial followed by a Borat commercial. You wouldn't do well at my physical therapy sessions. The PT lady is woke. You know that gap between those two bones you have? And I'm like, yeah. So she's like, well, I'm going to jam my fingers deep down in. Oh, yeah. No thanks. Finally, ads. A personal reflection after reading your book. A few honest observations about the Dirty Deeds box set. We block your account. Your photos and videos will be deleted. Half of these don't even have a subject. They're so stop hair loss and grow more hair today. How dare you? I keep getting a lot of political spam lately, and I feel like it's only going to get worse. You know what I'm saying? A gap, and I'm going to make you cry, but in 3 weeks you'll feel a little better. Yeah, I'll be crying for the whole 3 weeks though. Lorraine prefers Borat to Botox. It's because you were talking about Harry Styles. That's, you know what, that probably is it. Harry Styles, yeah, I'm trying to talk my cousin out of wearing dresses. I prefer him on the manly side. You know what? You would not use. What word you would not use to describe Harry Styles? Manly. My daughter's was a big fan of theirs. I'm sure she still is. And I'm always like, why do you find such feminine dudes all the time? Like your dad is a super masculine dude, and then you're liking all of these dudes that are not. And she's like, yeah, that's how I would describe you, Dad, masculine. How dare you? Hurt my feelings. Frank says, reply and tell them you don't feel their observations are honest. But anyone listen thinks he's better than me because he's famous. Yeah. Who's her dad? Oh, Frank, that's hurtful. Wow. Just hurtful. All right. Well, I'm done with my story. I'm happy. I want to thank everybody for hitting subscribe. I want to thank everybody for watching videos and watching 30 or more seconds, 33 seconds ideally on it. I have a new video that dropped today. My arm hurts. Key says they don't make masculine dudes anymore. It's the estrogen in our plastics. That's why I don't need a lot of plastics. Ooh, burping up pizza. I gotta take a pill because I'm old. Everybody, thanks for hanging out. Well, you said manly like her dad, so I thought maybe her dad was Harry Styles. No, she's in love with Harry Styles. She finds him quite attractive. Of all the Styles children. I will not be on tomorrow. Taking the day off. Not taking it off, but I gotta get stuff done. I gotta finish up this. Go through this story. Send it off this afternoon. Quite attractive, like her dad. Well, I'll let her know you said that. Ooh, FedEx is here. Sure, it's something for my wife or the dog or something. All right, Keith, thanks. Don't play hooky on Friday because we're going to be back here on Friday. So long, everybody. As usual, this has been very informative. Haas, really? You think this has been informative? You need to get out more, my friend. Which dog? It does. You know what it is? It's a box from Chewy. I'm sure even though this dog is supposed to go back on Saturday, I'm sure my wife bought something for the dog. Ugh. All right, everybody, I will see you on Friday.